Then I realized, oh my goodness, I actually hate men.
You should go bad for bad.
Bad for
When
bad.
someone mocks your accent, mock theirs. Unlimited. Welcome back to another episode of This Should Bother You with Pateka.
Sahar.
Yeah. Another week, darling, on this beautiful couch of ours.
Yes.
What's been bothering you this week?
What's been bothering me this week? Guys, my brother's been bothering me this week.
He's
always flying like this one. He's always flying around on a plane, on a train.
Why is that bothering you?
Because why can't I fly with him?
So, really, you have been bothering you, not him.
No, actually, go away. My brother... You and my brother, everyday flights. I'm like, guys, someone put me in their suitcase. It's not fair. I have to be stuck here.
It's not by force.
No, now that I have job, now that I have plans, inshallah, I will be traveling more. But you know what? In the meantime, when I was like, okay, not capable of doing that, these could have put me in the suitcase.
How?
My brother could have come to visit me.
Madam, you know
brother
the
could
luggage
have
limit
taken
is
me to
23
Mexico.
kilograms. It's 23 kg. Even if you fly business, it's 32 kg. So how are we going to...
Finesse. Anyway, what's been bothering me is my brother, and actually maybe this one as well. Everyday flights, everyday leaving.
Why am I in it?
Never enjoying rent.
I'm so sorry. Do you know that I haven't been to LAX since August? That is long for me. September, October, I was sat in this California, in this state, in this LA. Okay, not LA because we went to Oha and we went to Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
But I was on land.
I have been to LAX multiple times.
You see?
Yeah, I have been to LAX multiple times, but to drop her ass off. To get on a plane. Yeah?
All I'm saying is, no one can come for me right now. I have enjoyed my rent in this Q3. Well, we're now in Q4. September is Q3 and October is Q4. I think so. Corporate baddies, you'll let me know if I'm wrong. But I have been sat. I have been enjoying my rent. Yes, I've been going on little cute little road trips, but I've been sat. And, Sahan's just living his life. And this shouldn't bother you, This should just tell you that God is in the neighborhood. Your close people are traveling. Therefore, it's also coming for you. That's how you should see it. Madam, there's no watch on that wrist. What are you looking at? You're looking at your bracelets? Looking at your tattoos?
No, there's no watch. Guys, did you ever do that when you were kids? Did your cousins or anything like bite your hand and be like, oh, look what time it is? Because it would go like a circle. Maybe just my cousins abused me. Never mind. What's been bothering you, Chumi?
What has been bothering me? Guys, speaking of traveling and whatnot, I need a holiday. Year-end fatigue. It's got me by the neck. It actually has me in a chokehold. Like, I was on the phone with my mom and I was saying to her, like, the tiredness that I'm feeling right now feels bigger than me. Like, I'm doing all the right things. I'm working out. I'm eating well. I'm drinking my water. I'm sleeping most of the time. But, like, the fatigue is fatiguing, guys. Like, this year end is year ending. And I'm not falling for any propaganda that you people have been giving us that this year. Some people at work are like, oh my gosh, when did we get here? How is it already almost December? We dragged ourselves here. We arrived here crawling. Are you kidding me? Do you know how long this year has been? Do you realize the LA fires were this year? Huh?
That's insane.
Do you realize my hair was not the same color when this year started as it is right now?
Wow, that long?
Do you get it? You feel like I've been this hair color forever and ever. It only happened this year. You graduated this year. You were a student for the first 5 months of this year. Do you realize that? Like, that is how long I've changed jobs this year. Like, full-time one to another full-time one. Like, guys, this year has been long. This year has been long. I was in London. That London and Turkey trip feels like it was last year already.
Wow.
Do you see what I mean?
Wow.
Like, it's just been too long of a year, guys. I'm tired. I'm ready for us to close up shop. If it was up to me, everything was shut down on the 1st of December. But unfortunately, it is not up to me. So we do have to keep pushing until the 18th. But year-end fatigue really has me. So that's all that's been bothering me lately. Yeah.
Lovely. So let's dive into the main part of our podcast today.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about expectations versus realities of our 20s and the times we imagined in our lives when we were younger about now. And we're going to be diving into like where we thought would be career-wise, like relationship-wise, all of that, like just in general. And what would our, I guess, younger selves think about that now. So right now in your life,
Yeah.
where you are, what are you the most, I guess, proud of when you, I guess, look back and stuff?
Oh, that's a big question.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the fact that I'm able to take care of myself for the most part.
You do that well.
I think that's one hell of an achievement,
Yeah.
especially when you live so far from home and the systems that you would have in place to make that easier for you. I think that's something that I'm very proud of. Obviously, like being done with like school and stuff is something to be very proud of,
Yeah.
and all the degrees. I'm very proud of the choices that I was able to make and see through, as far as like moving here and like trying to build a life here and all of that, because that's something that like 10-year-old me would be really happy that I did. Like I remember when I was 10 was the very first time that I visited America, and we went to like New York, we went to Disney World, we didn't do the West Coast. The only time I visited the West Coast was when I was like 18. But anyways, I can remember from that trip, I had like very, obviously like guys, I was 10. So I still had a very illustrious view of America, and I was like, oh my goodness, like everything is glitz and glam, Broadway. Oh my God, I need to move here. I need to have an era in America. Like, I think round about then is when I decided. I think my mom always tells me this story about actually when I was around that age as well. When I was like, I basically said to her that when I grow up, I'm going to leave her. So I hope that like she'll be okay with that. Like what child says that?
No way.
What child says that?
No way.
And she always tells me this, and I'm like, what? So I don't know, man. Sometimes the things that you think of in childhood maybe manifest later on, but I think
They do.
she would be proud that I saw it through. Now, how long I shall see it through for, God knows, and that is a decision that I will leave in his hands. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it cute. I'm gonna keep it there for now. There'll probably be more things. Those are just like the first things that came up to mind. But what about you? What expectations of yourself have you met that you're proud of?
I'm proud of the fact that there's a lot of things coming to my brain. Like having our own space, like having a home. And I always imagined like, so we've spoken about this, like a maximalist, minimalist, and how we're kind of like a little bit different there. And I always imagine like how I would do my home and stuff like that, and living alone and all of that. But I realized how nice it is to live with someone like you really like enjoy being around.
Yeah.
And like how like lovely that is to live with like a friend, and I don't know, like it just, and like us building a home and like seeing little parts of ourselves everywhere, and kind of like family pictures at Pateka's mum in one corner, my parents in one corner, or like I don't know, like Pateka's like traditional cloth or blankets in one corner, and then like an Iranian samovar in the other. Like it's just so nice to have little bits of ourselves here, like the way we decorated our Christmas tree. But I think I'm proud of the living space we've created and the independence that I have, and the fact that I'm still chasing a dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. And that you were brave enough to continue.
Because there were many times where I was just like, she knows. Obviously, I wasn't there for her first year crash out.
Yeah.
But she knows, like,
The crash out was there.
my mum had been calling like my friends in the US to like
Checking on you.
no, just to tell them, can you make sure Sahar, like you motivate Sahar to stay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Parents really do be looking
Or
out
like,
for you.
yeah, she would. Yeah, like my mom and I had a phone call, and they were like, "What do we do?" Because we don't want her to come back. Even though those two, and like obviously more of my family, they want me to be with them, but they knew that it's bigger than
Them. And their desires.
and I think that was crazy, because I really really wanted to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you chose to stick it through. And I'm sure. Sorry, I'm doing the maths at how old Sahar was when she moved here. I think you were
20.
22? 3?
No, no, no. I moved here when I was 23, but like the first day of, but I turned 24 3 days after I moved here.
Okay, well,
Three.
24-year-old Sahar
Yeah.
would be very proud of you. Very proud of you. And yeah, just speaking of like first years and how hard they are, like I also remember there was a point in time where, so basically my grad school took me 3 years because I was doing 2 master's degrees. And there was a point in time where I was like to my parents, guys, maybe I should just do the MBA and call it a day, and then just book. I think I'm enough. And my dad said, absolutely not. Papa was like, absolutely not.
You say you were going to do this, do
You
it.
set out to do both of them. And he said, and you know him, he always says my degrees are his degrees. He says, you must bring me both of them. I want both of my degrees. I said,
No, we literally were at her graduation.
fair enough.
Her graduation was at lunch or dinner, and her dad was like, "You walk the stage, but those are my degrees."
Yeah.
And I literally bursted out laughing. I was like, "That's hilarious."
So real. But I love that. And are there any expectations that you had that have differed from the reality that you live?
Yeah, I think that's why I think I wanted to speak about this topic, because it's been in my brain and on my heart. And it's like when you're younger, like obviously, like I was quite shy when I was younger, so I didn't really speak too much about these dreams. But in my head, I was like, in my 20s, I'm going to be famous.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
are going to know who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm going to rock the world.
Yeah.
And in some capacity, I have influenced and I have been recognized for my work. But I guess it's not what I imagined, like to that extent. And I think I'm battling this thing as well. Like teenage Sahar had these big dreams for Sahar in her 20s. And I always feel like I'm disappointing her because I'm doing all these things. I'm on my way there, but I'm not there. And I'm scared that if I go into my 30s and I'm still on that journey, I would have failed or disappointed her. And I think that really scares me. And I didn't realize how much it scared me until I turned 27. Because I was like, shit, there's not enough time. I have all these films, like this, especially this is one specific story I've wanted to create since I was 19 and I still haven't created it. And I'm just like, how do I do it? What's going to happen? Blah, 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 blah. And I've started a job recently where I'm just like, I really love my team and everything. And it's in the industry and all of that. But I'm not directing, I'm not in those rooms. And I think, damn, how long is it going to take? Because I'm watching 45-year-old female directors, still shadow directors, just to be able to direct one episode of something. And I'm like, what?
It's crazy when you look at it that way, dude. Like, so many of the people that we look up to are actually older. Like,
yes.
I feel like social media has skewed our perception of how quickly success should be attained.
Yeah.
There are people who are our age mates and run like $1 million empires and like create features and whatever. They're there. But they're definitely the exception to the rule. Most of the people that are doing the jobs and the things we want to do are not 27, are not 25. They're older.
No, exactly. And I think the other thing that bothers me about my situation now is that, especially being in grad school and being a little bit older, I still relied on my family to help me. And I don't like that. I've been working since I was a teenager and I don't like relying too much. I like gifts, but I don't like relying on people and family just to live. And I think, especially with how hard my parents work and stuff, so I think that really bothered me, especially when I turned 27. Thank God girl's working now and everything and managing her creativity and freelance and all of that, trying to. But I just think, I imagine like walking the red carpets and doing endless interviews and being on a plane all the time and going from one country to another, and having a team of people to like help me and manage my life and be financially stable to the point where I could give to people. And I think the thing that throws me off is when I can't give to people. That really bothers me as well. So I think I just wanted to be at a certain place right now, and I'm not. And I guess I'm just battling what I wanted when like what the old me wanted now, and what the new me is going through now. So I think that's the situation I'm in at the moment.
I think what you're describing is what a lot of 20 something year olds go through, especially in your late 20s, as far as like the gap between what you feel, where you feel like you're supposed to be and where you are. And there's a lot of discomfort in that waiting period. There's a lot of, well, I don't want you, it's not a waiting period because you're actively growing and you're actively becoming, and every phase of your life is of value, but it still feels some sort of discomfort when your reality just doesn't match that expectations of what we had.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes we need to clock that like we knew nothing when we were setting these goals. Like, think about it. When you were a teenager, imagining the life that you want to have, the life that you will have, you didn't know what it's gonna take to get there. You had no idea of how much work it requires, of how many relationships you need to nurture, of how many jobs you need to excel at. You know what I mean? How many other obstacles you had to overcome in order to become the person who would be right and ready to live that kind of life. You didn't know. All of us don't know when we're sitting there and we're just dreaming and we're thinking about like where we want to be at a certain stage of life. Like, I think the most harmful thing we do to ourselves, and you can't avoid it, but it is that we're like, okay, by 25, this is what I should do. You don't even know what it's like to be a 25-year-old. You don't know. There's so many things that still shock us about the way we have, the things we have to do in this life that we could have never expected when we were teenagers. So I think the mental switch in this stage of our lives is learning how to give ourselves more grace. That like you can't be living to meet the expectations of someone who knew nothing about what it takes to be where you are at.
And I think, I guess, just to like, another thing is like, I think I didn't know what it takes. Like, for example, like when you're younger, you're like, I'm gonna get married at this age. Then I realized, oh my goodness, I actually hate men. And then, and then it's like, oh, I don't know if I wanna, get married at this age. Oh my God, like I don't even know if I can live with somebody like that at that capacity. Like, it's just, then I remember having this whole discussion when I turned 20. It's like sharing beds, and like I can't sleep next to people. I'm a really light sleeper, and I find it so difficult to even sleep next to the people I love the most. She knows this, and I'm just like, wow, like I feel like I'm still learning so much about myself, that I'm like, the goals that young Sahar was setting, she didn't even know herself to be setting those goals.
Literally.
I guess she would be proud, young Sahar would be proud of me, but I think I wish that the little things that I also wanted to do as well, I'd be less like scared of saying them. Like I'm someone right now that's like very behind the camera situation and doing things and all of that. But I'm also someone who's kind of admired being in front of the camera, but haven't done it because I'm like, oh, it's scary. That's not me. Like, I can't do that. But really, like, my young Sahar really loved those things, and she just hasn't. She was too scared to do them. And I guess I'm a little bit scared now, but I guess that admitting that is a good step.
Yeah.
But yeah, really interesting thing being in your 20s.
I think being surrounded by people who are older than you helps you have a very realistic perspective on things. My siblings are all older than me. Yeah. So when I was a teenager, they were in their 20s. And I think seeing them go through different struggles, seeing how long it took them to finally decide what they wanted to study, to finally be able to take care of themselves, seeing them live on their own apartments and then have to move back home because they can't afford it anymore, seeing them like, I really saw the rough part of your 20s as a teenager. So I think it helped me have a bit of a more realistic perspective that you're not going to achieve everything you want to achieve by 23. I genuinely think seeing them help me, and in fact, how I approached teenagers, I was scared. Like, so many people were like, woo, 20, some of your life, excited. I was like, I hope I don't get depressed. I hope I'm not broke. I hope I'm not like, I was like, I really hope I'm not in the very rough terrain for too long. Obviously, we all go through seasons where you're in that rough terrain, but I think I was kind of just like really anxious about that part of being in your 20s. So in that way, I guess it's been maybe I haven't, how do I word this? My life hasn't been reflective of negative expectations that I had of my 20s, which is a good thing, you know. I've had very difficult seasons, but like it's okay also. And also, I think when you're seeing someone go through hard times, you multiply how hard that time is. But when you're going through it yourself, you realize that it's just a part of life. Like, even if you're going through like the greatest difficulty, even if you're in a season of unemployment, it doesn't mean your whole life is bad. Like, there's other goodness that comes out of that season. There's more rest that comes out of more season. You can work on your creative projects, etc. Like, it's okay to go through these very painful seasons. It doesn't mean like you're failing at something. So I think that is what helped me have a little bit of more realism as I was approaching this decade of my life, was constantly being surrounded by people who were going through it. You know, I wasn't imagining what it would be like to be in your 20s. I saw people around me do it. Do you know what I mean? I think the only aspect of my 20s that I may have possibly been unrealistic in is partnership. That's the one where I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fall in love. And then in my mind, I was like, cool, I have to meet the love of my life by like my mid-20s at the latest. Because around late 20s, we need to be getting engaged. So that around like 29, 30, I can start thinking about my kids. And that in my early 30s is enough time for me to have like spent my 20s trying to get some sort of like career stability for myself. And then like, cool, we can have kids. Girl, here you are, 25 and single. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Life will come at you fast. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Relationships start and they end. You go through seasons where you're like, actually, ew, I don't want anyone around me. I'm so content. And then you go through other seasons where you see your friends in partnership and you're like, oh, I would really love that. So I think that definitely my younger self would be like, hello? What's wrong with you? Like, why haven't you done it? Like, look at yourself. You are so desirable. Like, why haven't you met that expectation that I had of you? And sometimes it's just not how the cookie crumbles, guys. Like, it truthfully is not how the cookie crumbles. And something that I'm very grateful for social media for is how much we're able to see different people achieve these goals that we thought are meant to be achieved in your early 20s, like later on. Like, I think of like Tony Tone, who's like an author. She also has a podcast and she also posts online, and how she often speaks about, like, she just got married now and she's 35. She met the love of her life at 32. And she speaks about that a lot, about how like we burden ourselves so much by, I don't know, like being beholden to certain timelines that we don't meet. And it's frustrating. And I think that's something we're supposed to go through in our 20s. It's like we constantly have to fight this feeling of feeling like we're behind. And now, like, the good part of social media is seeing people who achieve things later, but also the bad part is seeing people who achieve things early. I'm seeing 24-year-olds who are like far gone beyond the goals that I have for myself, and I'm like, okay, so why aren't you doing it? Like, people can just wake up and do it, and I don't like how easy people make it seem on social media.
How easy, but also I think I have to remind myself, it's like half of these people, their mom and dad are somebody.
Yeah.
And they've had so much help, and then I'm just like, I remind myself that, but then I go into this really deep hole of like, bruh, it must be nice. Why can't everyone else's mom and dad be somebody to get there? Do you know what I mean? Like, what do I not have? Do you know what I mean? I have a lot of creativity in me and I have so much talent, but unfortunately, like, I don't have parents, for example, in the industry. So it's just like, obviously someone who's maybe less talented than us can get hired because their mom and dad know somebody. Do you know what I mean? And that,
this world loves to make mediocre people famous.
And Taylor Swift is one great example.
Yep.
Actually, we were speaking about this with my office friends. I was like, this great example of no talent but connection and being white. In my next life, I want to be a white woman.
The Swifties are gonna come for you. My God.
Come for me then.
No, honestly, like, and I'm so sorry. My best friend's gonna cook me. I know.
Oh,
after watching this
I
episode.
forgot about
But
that.
like, sorry to my dear. She even knows. Like when we're together, and she tries to play Taylor Swift. I make her skip it, and I'm just like, I can't. She's a good songwriter. You know, I've heard she's a good songwriter, but performance wise, musically, I don't know, Chief. You've sounded the same from when I was 14 to now. I haven't heard any evolution for the past 9 years. Like, anyways, that Sweeney woman is another example. Like,
Guys, she. Oh my god.
like,
You know she.
I don't know, guys. If you guys need recommendations of more people to make blow up and bigger, ask us. We'll give you
Yes.
recommendations.
What's that?
Don't worry.
White woman with big boobs. I'm a brown woman with big boobs. Better option.
Yeah. Anyways, it's hard because some people. There are some amazing, talented, brilliant human beings who are able to achieve success very quickly, and I love that for you. Fantastic things. But then there are some people who you look at and you're like, I don't see I don't see what you got here, darling. But you were all the way up here. Like, it's insane. But
And
hey, like,
even, yeah, and even
congratulations.
Congratulations. But even though we say these things like, oh, it's because of this and this and this, it still bothers me that we're not in those positions to be able to use those, like, finesse those connections or finesse the people who in our lives who would have those connections. And I think it's just unfair. So yeah, then I go down the rabbit hole again. But we have to confront these things so we can grow and be better and not compare
ourselves
to
and
time,
there's-
age, and
and there's certain ways in which we are privileged that other people watching us or looking at us could be like, shut up, you're actually complaining for no good reason, or you're being impatient, or so I think two things can be true at once. We can be frustrated, but we must always try and remain grateful and have perspective as well, that there are ways in which we are a bit at an advantage, and there are ways in which we are at a disadvantage. And we can't spend our lives comparing ourselves to our Caucasian counterparts that have a hell of a lot more privilege. Like, it's okay, life's not fair, what must we say? Our time will come, our time will come, our time will come, and we're just gonna have to live with that. I don't know, I think we all, when you grow up very like sheltered and stuff, you kind of expect that like wherever you go will always be grand, but like you move here and like I think I just didn't realize, and this is probably just because I obviously have always grown up in a country that I'm from, and maybe you'll have a different perspective on this. I just didn't realize the extra layer of marginalization that you experience when you immigrate somewhere.
yeah.
I think that's an expectation versus reality thing that I've also now only experienced having lived here as a foreigner for 4 years. Because like when I first moved here, I honestly didn't think of myself as a foreigner. I mean, we're in the United States of America. There's so much diversity. Everyone looks different. Like, I was just like, cool. In the club, we all fam. Like, I was like, great. But then like, I don't know, there's so much paperwork that like describes you as like what is it? It's called a non-resident alien.
Yeah.
The way that they describe us here, the way that like there's the rules that you have to abide by, like having to have all these documentation when you travel versus when you don't, being able to work under certain conditions and not others. I don't know, man. I think I had a very chill and lax expectation about what the whole like moving experience would be. I thought my biggest conundrums of differences would just be like adapting to a new place, as if I was moving to a new city, and I didn't really consider about this whole layer of being an immigrant somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think you probably have a different perspective on that because you've moved twice, so you've already experienced prior to moving to the US being an immigrant somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, not an immigrant because you were born in the UK, but
Yeah.
you felt new to it.
Yeah, I mean, expectation versus reality. I didn't have any expectations of the UK obviously because I was born there. Loved Iran, but didn't get to see the pain that much because I was like young. But London's a big melting pot. I told you, coming here, people not it's a melting pot, but people are very in their own. They're like divided, like that, if that makes sense. Like, the way people, I don't know, the way people hold conversation and stuff is so different here. Like learning little things. I guess the biggest thing for me was like I didn't know how. I think I've mentioned this so many times about like how people, what politics is like here, like socialization politics is like here, and what it means to like what friendship actually means to people. And I think I imagined it being very like the same and inviting as like where I was like before and having a tight community and stuff. But I think I've just realized that people here kind of like hold surface level relationships and they just think it's enough and it's part of like it. They think of everything as work. Like even having friends is like a chore in itself, because the I love yous and stuff feel like that. They don't feel like genuine. They feel like it's just something you say, but it's just completely opposite to what I'm used to. So I guess my expectation of like, I guess coming here and stuff and all of that would be like, oh, like it would be the same, but
Wasn't.
socialization politics here is very different. So I'm happy to have finally found people around me where I feel comfortable.
Did you have any expectations as far as like just what being a foreigner would be like, or no?
I didn't think about it that much.
Like, have you, or has anything shocked you? Like, has anything shocked you from having to deal with like
Yes.
all this OPT and CPT business, and
I
like,
mean, no.
having to deal with, you must get an I-20 signed every time you want to come out in and out of the country. Being a non-resident alien, you were just doing your W-4 paperwork just now. Like all of this stuff.
No, I think the paperwork, maybe because I've like seen, maybe this. I've had a lot of my family move to the UK in recent years and I've seen what they've had to deal with. So I just expected it for myself, I guess.
Okay.
So the paperwork and stuff, I was like, it's fine. This is different from immigration. But what is up with Americans and British accents? What is up with you guys?
That's actually what should have been bothering you this week, because you've been experiencing it a lot this week.
This week, last week, in general, every week. Dude, I've had friends I'm no longer that close to, like they've been trying, like even the people I'm close to here, they try so hard. They're like, was that good? Was that a good accent? What? Like, guys, give it up. It's not a good accent. You can't do it. Now, what if I switch places with you and I take the piss out of you? Literally. You know what I mean? Like what is... And it, guys...
You should actually do that. You should go bad for bad.
Bad for
when
bad.
Someone mocks your accent, mock theirs. See how they feel
like,
about it.
At the end of the day, like, yes, I sound British, yeah, cool. But this is where I grew up. These are the people I was surrounded by. This is home for me. Even though you see it because of Harry Potter or whatever thing, your book you're reading or whatever, that's not me. And that's the thing that I think bothers me, is that poshness isn't me. Like, I grew up in South London. I didn't grow up like all of these like posh ass films that you're watching. That's not my culture. My culture is South London. My culture is living in a melting pot of people. My culture is creating slangs in our communities from different cultures to be able to connect with each other. My accent is deeper than the films that you're watching and the excitement that you get because you hear that undertone. My accent is deeper than being from the UK. It's being from a place that I found home in because of the minorities that have come there. I think that's what I think kind of the layer that bothers me. Does that make sense? Like, it's the fact that
it's almost like they're reducing me
just
basic.
Yeah, and that's not me. Do you know what I mean? I do like code switch in a way where I poshen myself up a little bit because I know they wouldn't understand if I would speak like I was from like South.
Ends.
Not from ends, mate. Like, but it's just, do you know what I mean? And I think I'm being, like you're saying, being reduced to this idea of what they have of folks from the UK and and I know they get excited and it's cute, but for me, being from the UK is so much deeper than what you see and what you hear from people on TV or in film. That's the safe spaces I found in the UK. That's the things that make up my accent. And I don't know, I just feel a bit attacked after it happens too much.
It's not nice. It's not fun. And I guess that's something you didn't expect moving here.
Yeah, I didn't expect
how othered they would make you feel in that way, because it does other you.
Yeah, it does other me. And the funny thing is, like, in the beginning I'm like, colonial accent, whatever, who gives a shit? But no, it's more than a colonial accent because minorities have taken it for themselves and made it something. Do you know what I mean? So I think I just feel more upset recently when I hear it more. But before I was like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. And the funny thing is, everybody does it. Everyone in my life does it. From friends to non-friends, from like work people.
People are like, I'm sorry, it's not intentional. And it's like, try harder to make it intentional that you don't do it.
Yeah.
Try harder.
And it's like, where do I start having these conversations with people? Because it's from my close friends to acquaintances to work. It's everything. So it's an interesting thing for me to try and kind of now. I didn't have these expectations that I would be like, so like start to become so, I don't know, bothered by it. Guess it's something that's also bothering me. But I don't know. Now I'm realizing like, oh, it's more than having little privileges, or because your accent sounds nice, come in, like let her in, or let's do this or whatever, like are you cool? But it's like it's now bothering me to the point where I feel too othered.
Stop mocking my friend's accent.
And stop mocking her accent as well. She's not British.
Oh, whilst we're here, I'm not from the United Kingdom. I have never lived there a day in my life. I was not born there. The longest period of time I've ever spent there in one visit is 2 weeks. Okay, I've been there a couple of times. Fine. Never long enough to adopt an English accent. Like the amount of people. And Sarah used to think I was joking when I told her that people always say I'm from London. So if I'm in an Uber and they're like, oh, you're from London, I just say yes, because I'm never going to see this Uber driver again. I can't be bothered to explain to you that I'm not from there, because that's what you believe, and I'm gonna leave you there. But like, it's really irritating.
The thing is, if it was done, if people did that like mocking thing, like if people do it around me like 70%, if it was taken to 20%, maybe I would actually laugh with you properly. I would actually find it funny.
But it's the repetition that makes it exhausting. If you experienced it maybe once in a while, you wouldn't care.
Yeah, I wouldn't care.
Like, I must say, I don't experience it too much, so it's not top of mind for me. Yeah. Like, people don't do it often. But literally every other time I go out with Sahar and we meet new people, I know what's gonna happen to her. Like, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, or whatever. Like, they try imitate it, but in their American way, and it's just like,
it's actually like,
I'm saying the solution is go band for band. I think this is what you need to do.
No, I literally think I'm going to speak like this.
Do it.
The whole
time.
Go
band for band. We can go accent for accent. I'm also doing it now.
Because it really pisses me off.
And I'm going to sound country. I'm going to do a southern accent for all you people and say, this is the American accent. And you guys are going to get really irritated.
Yeah.
Because people from like Cali and New York, it's different. It's not the same.
And I'm literally going to say everyone here is from California. And I'm going to speak like this. Yeah? Because all of you sound like that. Honestly, guys, like, I don't know what it is, but that's the thing that we didn't, I don't know about you, expect.
Yeah, I didn't, yeah. It kind of just ties into, like, the things you don't consider about how differently and how the element of your foreignness becomes very evident and pervasive and like front-facing when you move somewhere. And that's not something that you would think about. You just think everyone's just going to be normal.
Exactly. And also, I think the thing that I didn't think about maybe when I was a teenager, maybe before I moved here, is that there's layers to me. Like, I sound British, but then people get confused because I'm brown. They're like, oh, if you have this accent, you should look like, white.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think I haven't, obviously people won't say it, but in my head, like, I've seen people's like, the mathematics in their head,
how you look and how you sound. Yeah,
because it's like, oh, this girl's gonna open her mouth, she's either gonna sound American or she's going to be from wherever brown place she's from, but but like then they start like it's fascination, confusion, and I think I didn't realize that would be happening. And I guess teenage Sahar, I didn't know that moving to California, because I did have dreams of moving to California, whether I like to admit it or not, when I was a teenager. And now that it's happened...
We all did.
Yeah,
we all believed in an American dream that was never for us.
Literally. And now that it's happened, Sahar would be like, what the hell? And I'd be like, yeah, girl, look what's going on. But, these are things that we realize.
It's just part of life, man.
Yeah.
It's just part of life, man. But...
Anyway.
Moving right along. What have you been watching this week? Oh! We can actually share this segment. Unlimited. Together I'm so pissed. Do you remember we had a green mic and we gave it back? Oh, that would have been perfect. Well, my nails are. I'm clearly the alphabet here.
We went and watched
Wicked Part 2.
Yes.
Wicked for Good, actually, is what it's called. I keep saying Wicked Part 2, but like it is basically Wicked Part 2.
Yeah.
But okay, well, spoken as a former theater kid, I don't know. I don't have any strong feelings towards musicals. Like, if it's a good musical, I'll love it. If it's not a good musical, then I wouldn't like it anyways because it's not a good movie. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not put off or enchanted by whether the musicality is there or not. I just ask that the songs make sense. All I ask is that if we're having a breakup, the next song you sing is about heartbreak. You can't be breaking up and then sing about how you love Christmas trees. Now you've lost me. Like, I don't like when the music feels too far from the story. But if you do it well and it feels like integrated to the point where even the story is advanced through the song. Like, what I liked, honestly, by the time this episode goes out, the movie would have been out for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, spoiler alert. So sorry. But what I liked about the song, I think it's called like the one where Alphabet and Galinda singing to each other about how because I met you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
Yeah.
What I loved about that song is they had the conversation in the music. And that moved the story forward because they needed to have that conversation. And Alphabet had to explain to Galinda why she had to be wicked in order for her to be good. And she has to carry this on because Galinda is the people will follow what she says. No one's going to follow what Alphabet says. And she has to therefore sacrifice herself in this way. And they have a conversation through the song. And that's what I like. I like it when the music is pushing the narrative forward and is making a point. And also, again, just as a former theater kid, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I also saw, and I sent it to Sahar and some of my other friends, this video where Cynthia Erivo went to her old school.
Yeah. By the way, someone tell me what school that was because the kids...
I cried.
It sounded familiar.
We can link the video, actually. Guys, I cried. Like, oh my gosh, these were little teens. I don't know how old they were. Maybe they looked around like 14-ish to me, 15-ish. And guys, as a kid who used to do like drama and choir and whatever, like I was just putting myself in their shoes. And there they are singing the song because they were singing that song. I think it's For Good is what the name of the song is. And she was there listening to them, and then they did a part where like she sings with them, and the girl started crying when she was singing.
Insane.
But guys, I don't know, and it just showed me so much about like how impactful like art and creativity can be for you in childhood and in adulthood,
and chasing your dreams,
and that's why even Cynthia was crying when she was there because she remembered being on that stage that these kids was on, and here she is now the person that they are looking up to, and that's insane. Like, can you imagine that feeling of visiting places where a younger version of you that at some point in time what you've achieved now felt impossible, and now here you are singing to her and showing. Oh my gosh, I cried. But anyways, I loved the movie. What were your takes?
I liked the movie. Obviously, again, like great movie, but obviously I wasn't obsessed with it like a lot of people are. I didn't get really emotional around it. I think the music, singing kind of throws me off. But again, like I really like, because we went again to like a BAFTA event and we saw it before it came out, and
which was really great. And the panel.
So that's what I wanted to get into is like the director had such great things to say and how his process was and all of that. And I think I really liked that.
And he got so excited. I love seeing people get excited about their craft.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And just seeing that, and I think I really appreciated the film, and I think it does a lot for people. And I think that's my favorite thing about this film is obviously the film itself is good, but how people react to it, it's like such a unique thing for me to see, even though I'm not as attached to it like other people are, but I just find it so people's reactions for me are so beautiful. That something can have such big effect on people's hearts, and I think that's what film is supposed to do, and it's doing it, and you're doing it right.
And it's moving people, and I love that.
100%. And other than that, I watched Rental Family as well.
Wait, sorry, before you move away from Wicked, I just also wanted to say that in that panel, we saw Ariana Grande and Cynthia also get to like speak, and Cynthia Erivo, the woman that you are, like, when she was speaking, I was like this. You know when people like grab you and you feel like, I'm literally like, I'm concentrating on nothing else but the words coming out of your mouth. So well spoken. Like, kind of irrelevant to the movie, but like so well spoken. And I just wanted to say that. What else did you want to say that you watched?
Very well spoken. I watched Rental Family. It's a film that's out. It's Japanese director who made the film and shot it in Japan. It's about basically an American man who's lived in Japan for like 7 years, and so in Japan they have this thing, it's called Rental Family, where you can actually like, I don't know if it's specifically called Rental Family, but you can rent out people to act for a specific part in your life for a minute. They can act as a dad, a husband. They can give you a fake ceremony. I don't know. Like it's very, very.
Sounds like something America would have as well. I feel like if we
I don't know.
look hard enough, I'm sure we'll find it.
But unfortunately, they have that because loneliness is such a big thing in Japan, and suicide and all of that. So it kind of like doesn't go deep into that, but it just talks about basically how like the idea of a rental family has turned into something so much more. Like, okay, it ended up being a rental thing, but it turned into so much more than that. And it's just showing you how this American man has like made so many connections and how it's changed him and how it's changed those people. And I thought it was the most beautiful film I've seen after a most impactful film I've seen after Sinners.
Where can people watch it?
People can watch it. It's out now. AMC, cinema, all of that. Brendan Fraser, great man. I love his recent work, and I grew up watching his work when I was a kid, subtitled in Farsi and all of that. But yeah,
It sounds like a really good movie.
oh, it was fantastic. Like it really moved me. Like, and I love it when cinematography and sound and music is intentional. That stuff, and the colors, like the director was talking to us about colors and how this color means something in the film and how we transition from this to this. And I'm like, fantastic, give me more. What does that guy say? I want 14 more of those right now. Literally, like I love stuff like that. So that was one of my favorite things that we watched
Recently.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, go watch our recommendations, guys.
Yes.
But we are now at the end of our episode.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Yeah.
Subscribe, comment, like, share.
That one.
Spotify,
That
YouTube.
one. We need to start actually reminding people to do these things earlier on in the episode, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Future thoughts for future us. We will do that one. But yeah, please continue to like and support the platform. And we appreciate all of you that already do. We appreciate all of you that engage with us. Follow our socials as well. You can interact with us there. But otherwise, we will see you in the next one.
Yes.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.